Hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at importing from another Logic project. So why would you want to do this? Well, there's a couple reasons. Let's say, for example, you've been recording and editing and now you're ready to start mixing. Sometimes it's good to have a fresh start, bring everything into a new project, and then you can start mixing. And that basically saves you the step of having to export all the audio and then re-import it. You can just select the tracks you want in the order that you want them and bring them into the new project and just have them arranged the way you want them arranged right out of the gate. Another reason is in case a project gets corrupted. So let's say that, project gets somewhat corrupted and just want to grab the audio out of it and bring it into a new project to start fresh, or you hit a button and now the project's misbehaving, you just want to start a new project and bring in all the audio and MIDI data so that you can pretty much start and pick up right where you left off in the project that got messed up. So how do you do this? Well, first things first, you want to have a new blank project open or a project open that you want to bring the data into. Once you have the project open, just go to the file menu, go to import, and import from Logic project should be the first option under that import submenu. So let's do that because I got my project open here. So I'm going to go to the menu bar with VOM.
Menu bar, Apple.
And I'm going to press F to get to the file menu.
File.
Hit the down arrow.
File. Menu 21. New command shift. N.
And I'm just going to hit I.
Import. Submenu.
There we go. Import. So now if I expand the submenu, the first option should be Logic project.
Import. Submenu 8 items. Logic projects ellipsis.
There we go. Hit return.
Logic projects. Import. Dialog. Back. Dimmed button. Import. Dialog. List 1 item selected. 667. Group. 1 of 19.
And it looks like this is already in the folder that I want. So if I hit the letter Z, because the project I want to import starts with Z.
Z demo. Group. 17 of 19. Z demo logics. Group. 18 of 19.
All right, there we just down arrowed one, and that's the project we want. So I'm going to hit return.
Now in. Untitled. Tracks. Window. Track 1 audio 1. Group.
All right, so that puts us back in our track group in our project. So if we stop interacting with this.
Out of tracks. Head. Out of track. Out of track.
We're out of the track group altogether. But now, if we VO right arrow, we're going to find a browser similar to the file browser. And it's going to have a table in there where we can see all the tracks that are in the project that we want to import from and select what tracks to bring in to this project. So I'm just going to navigate with VO right arrow until we get to the files group.
Project. Radio button. Media. Radio button. All files. Selected. All files. Group.
There we go. All files group.
All files. Group.
Interact with that.
In all files. Group. 19 items. Back button. Forward. Dimmed. Computer button. Home button. Project button. Table view selected. Radio button. Column view. Radio button. Path. List 0 items selected. 96.0 kilohertz. 8 global. Unchecked. Checkbox. Audio. Check. Checkbox.
And you see these are the different parameters that you can have the table show with all the tracks from the project. These are all checked by default. I just leave them all checked. So once we navigate through this list of parameters that you can check and uncheck, we'll get to a table that has a list of all the tracks in the project.
Ins, check, checkbox, aux, check, checkbox, I/O, check, checkbox, MIDI, check, checkbox, table, row 1 of 26, num, 1, name, base versus, type, audio.
And this is a table I was talking about that has a list of all the tracks in the project. Let's interact with this table and take a look.
In table, row 1 of 26, num, 1, name, base versus.
So in this table, the first column is going to have the track name.
Name, base versus. Type, audio.
And then the next column over is going to tell you what type of track it is, whether it's an audio track or an instrument track.
Content track import view. Select the data that you want to import into your project. Unchecked. Checkbox.
Okay, so this first checkbox basically tells the system that you want to import the track and the data on the track. So if you check this first box, it's just going to bring in the track and the track contents, which will be the audio regions or the MIDI regions that are on the track.
Plugins dash. Unchecked. Checkbox.
If there are any plugins on the track, checking this box will also let you bring the plugins in as well.
Sense track import view. Select the data that you want to import into your project. Dimmed unchecked. Checkbox.
And then if this track is routed to any sends or auxes, checking this will allow you to bring those in.
I/O track import view. Select the data that you want to import into your project. Unchecked. Checkbox.
This lets you keep the I/O routing of the track, so whatever input you have selected on that track, input 1, input 2, etc., or whatever output that track is routed to, it will keep those input and output routings if you select this checkbox.
Keep bus number track import view. Select the data that you want to import into your project. Unchecked. Checkbox.
Keep bus number. This basically means, let's say this track is routed to bus 5. When you import it into the project, if you have keep bus number checked, it will make sure that the bus it assigns it to is also bus 5. That way, everything is routed the way you remember it. If you don't have the check, it's going to keep the route in, but it's going to route it to the first available bus. So, if bus 1 is the first available bus, it's going to route it to bus 1 instead of bus 5. So if you want to keep the same bus numbers when you import it, you want to go ahead and check this box.
Automation track import view. Select the data that you want to import into your project. Uncheck. Checkbox.
If there's any automation on the track, you can select this and that will bring the automation data in as well. If we don't check this, it won't bring in the automation data.
Notes dash. Dimmed uncheck. Checkbox.
And if you have any notes for the track, you can check this. As you can tell, there's no notes here, so it's not going to give us that option. It's dimmed. All right, that's the last one. So if we go VO right, it's going to wrap around to the next row in the table.
Nom. 2. Name. Bass chorus.
And you see that's the next track in the table. So let me go find a track that's a MIDI track so you can see how that one looks.
Drums. 7 6 string 6 string B lead. 7 string main vox comp 2 main vox end of vocal chorus melody. Vocal melody stack. Z original track. Steinway grand piano.
And I just use VO down arrow to navigate down the table column that had all the track names. So this Steinway grand piano track, if I VO right arrow now that I'm on it,
Type. Inst.
you see the type is instrument or ins as it says.
Content track import view. Select the data that you want to import into your project. Uncheck. Checkbox.
And then the rest of the options are pretty much the same. This lets you bring in the track and the MIDI regions on it.
Plugin ZXS24. Channel EQ. Compressor. Tape delay. Uncheck. Checkbox.
This lets you bring in all the plugins that are on this track. So as you can tell, this track has an instance of XS24, the compressor, the tape delay, etc. So if you just want to bring in the MIDI data and you want to assign it to a different instrument and different effects, you don't need to check this box. But if you want to keep the instrument assignment and the compressor, delays, etc., then you want to go ahead and check that box. And then the rest of the stuff is pretty similar.
Sends track import view. Select the data that you want to import into your project. Dimmed uncheck. Checkbox.
Any sends or auxes the track is routed to, this gives you the option to keep them when you bring it in.
IO track import view. Select the data that you want to import into your project. Uncheck. Checkbox.
You can keep the IO.
Keep bus number track import view. Select.
You can keep the bus numbers if you want.
Automation track import view.
Once again, you can keep the automation data.
Notes dash. Dimmed uncheck. Checkbox.
And any note you have for the track. And once again, that's the last option, so it's going to wrap around.
Nom. 15. Name. Steinway grand piano.
Yep. So there we go. So now I'm going to jump back to the top with VO home here.
Nom. 1. Row 1 of 26. Name. Bass versus. Type. Audio. Content track import view. Select the data that you want to import into your project. Uncheck. Checkbox.
All right. So we're on the first option here. This once again allows you to import the track and the regions on the track into the project. So let's say you want to import everything exactly as is. You want to keep the same track order and all that. You can just press Command A to select all and then VO space on this, and it will check all the track content options for you. Then if you want to bring in all the plugins,
Plugins dash. Uncheck. Checkbox.
you can once again Command A, VO space and check that, and it will bring in all the tracks with all the plugins for you. And that's the quick and easy way to do it. Once you do that, you stop interacting with this table and you go over to the add button and bring it into the project that way. But the cool thing about this is you can pick and choose the order in which you bring things in. So if you don't want to bring things in all in the same order, all the same way, you can select the tracks one at a time and bring them in the order you want to bring them in. So for example, I'm going to go back over to where it says the track name.
Content track import. Type. Audio. Name. Bass versus.
So now I'm going to just down arrow through this and find the first track that I want to bring into the project. So I'm just going to do VO down arrow through this column.
Bass chorus. Drums.
There we go, drums. So I want the drums to be at the top of my track list. So I'm going to select that. So I'm going to VO right arrow to check the box for that.
Type. Audio. Content track import view. Select the data that you want to import into your project. Uncheck. Checkbox. Check track import view. Select the data that you want to import into your project. Check.
And for this track, I don't need anything else. So I'm just going to stop interacting.
Out of table.
And go find the add button. So I'm going to VO right.
Import projects. Replace. But add button. 1 bar 1. Don't import button. The added audio file contains tempo information. Do you want to import it into this project?
And yes, I do want to import the tempo.
Import default button.
So I'm going to do that.
Press now in untitled tracks window. Add dim button.
And now that should have also changed the project tempo to from 120 to 80 BPM. So let's stop interacting with this.
Untitled tracks control bar toolbar.
Go to control
In
bar.
control bar, inspect, quick, toolbar, smart mixer, editor, rewind, forward, stop, but play, on, record, uncheck, cycle, uncheck, control bar, groove, in control, 80, tempo, slider.
You see the tempo is now set to 80 BPM, which is what it should have done. So that's perfect.
Out of control bar, toolbar.
So now I'm going to go back to the track header.
Untitled, inspector, group, tracks, groove. In track, tracks, in track, tracks, time, tracks header, group, in tracks header, groove. 2 items, track 1, audio 1, groove.
And the reason I came in here is because if you see, track 1 is still selected. So if I import anything else, it's going to put it after track 1, but I want the next thing I import to go after the drum track.
Track 2 drums, groove.
So you see this says track 2 drums.
Track 2 drums, groove.
So I want the next thing I import, which is going to be the bass, to come after this. So I'm going to select the drum track, and now I'm going to go back to the file browser.
Out of tracks header, groove.
So we're going to stop interacting with the tracks group.
Out of tracks, groove, out of tracks.
Now if I hit VON to jump all the way to the end of this window,
Add dimmed, add dimmed button.
see that puts me on the add button. So now I'm just going to VO left to find the table again.
Replace, dimmed, import project settings, button. Table, row 3 of 26, num, 3, name.
There we go, interact with the table.
In table, row 3 of,
And I'm going to select these 2 bass tracks here.
plugin stash, unchecked, content track import, type, name, drums.
So I'm on the drum tracks. I'm going to go up.
Bass chorus, bass verses.
There we go, bass verses. So now I'm going to use VO right to go find that track content checkbox.
Type, audio, content track import view. Select the data that you want to check track import view. Select the data that you want to check track import view. Select the data that you want to import in.
And that's it. Once again, I don't need to bring in any effects or anything else. So I'm just going to stop interacting and go to add.
Out of table. Add button. 1 bar 1 beat 1 division 1 tick.
All right, so same deal. Get out of here and go back to the track header area.
Back button. Forward dimmed. Out of all files. Groove.
And now if I stop interacting and go to track header.
All files. Selected. Media. Ready. Project. Tracks. Groove. In tracks. Groove. 2 items. Tracks. Toolbar. Tracks. In tracks. Time. Tracks header. Groove.
Tracks header is what I wanted.
In tracks header. Groove. 4 items. Track 2 drums. Groove. Track 3 bass. Track 4 bass chorus. Groove.
All right, so now that I have the last track in the project selected.
Track 4 bass chorus. Groove.
If I go back in, I can add stuff that are going to be added to the project after the bass chorus track. So I'm going to stop interacting here.
Out of tracks. Groove.
If I press VO end,
All files. Groove.
that puts us on the file group. I'm going to interact with this.
In all files. Groove. 19 items.
And
Back button.
Once again, I'm going to press VO end.
Add dimmed button.
Now I'm at the bottom of the window, so I'm going to do VO left arrow to go back to the table.
Replace. Import project set. Table. Row 2 of 20. In table. Row 2 of 26. Num. 2. Name. Bass chorus. Type. Audio. Content track import view. Plugin stash. Uncheck. Checkbox. Content track. Type. Name. Bass chorus.
All right, so I'm going to down arrow through this and find the next couple of tracks that I want to import. And that's most likely going to be keyboard tracks.
Drums. 7 string verse. 6 string B lead. 7 string main vox comp 2 main vox and vocal chorus melody. Vocal melody the original track. Steinway grand piano.
There we go, Steinway grand piano.
Type. Inst. Content track import view. Select the data that you want to import into your check track import view. Select the data that you want.
So I want to import the track.
Plugin ZXS24. Channel EQ. Compressor. Take delay. Uncheck. Checkbox.
And then this time I want to bring in the effects.
Check EXS24. Channel EQ. Compressor. Sense track import view. Select the data that you want to import. IO track import view. Keep bus number track import view. Select the data that you want.
And I want to keep the bus number for the sends that are assigned to this.
Check track import view. Select the data that you want to import into your project. Checkbox.
And this is going to wrap around.
Automation track import view. Notes dash. Dim checked. Num. 15. Name. Steinway grand piano.
There we go, we're on the second one.
Type. Inst. Content track import view. Select the data that you want. Check track import view.
So I'm going to check that.
Plugin ZXS24. Channel EQ.
I'm going to check yes on the plugins as well.
Check EXS24. Channel EQ. Sense track import view. IO track import view. Keep bus number track import view. Check track import view.
And I'm going to keep bus numbers here. The reason I don't have to hit the sends on this is because of the way these are set up. The sends are part of the patch. So it's going to bring them in, but now that I have keep bus number selected, it's going to keep the same bus number routings that it has in the previous project. So once again, if I stop interacting with this,
Out of table. Add button.
go ahead and hit add.
1 bar 1 beat 1 division 1 tick.
And now if I go back to the tracks area,
Out of all files. All files. So media. Project. Radio. Tracks. Groove. In tracks. Tracks. In tracks. Time. Tracks header. Groove. In tracks header. Groove. 6 items. Track 4 bass chorus. Groove. Track 5 Steinway grand P. Track 6 Steinway grand. Track 6 Steinway grand P.
you see we got those two added in there, and now I can go ahead and add something after this, which in this case is a vocal.
Out of tracks header. Out of track. Out of tracks. Groove. All files. Groove.
So we just stop interacting with the track group, VON to jump back to the all files group at the end of the window. Gonna interact with this.
In all files. Groove.
VON again to jump to the add
Add
button.
dim button.
And now I'm just going to back up to the table with VO left arrow.
Replace. Dim. Import projects edit. Table. Row 15 of
There
26.
we go. We're back on the table. And now I'm going to go grab the vocal track.
In table. Row 15 of 26. Nom. 15. Name. Steinway Grand.
So let's see where we are here.
IO track import view. Sense track import view. IO track import. Set plugins EX content type. In name. Nom. 15. Notes dash. Dim done check. Check. Nom. 5th name. Steinway Grand Piano.
All right. So there we're on the column with the track name. So I'm going to go find the first track that I want.
Steinway Grand Piano. The original track. Vocal melody stack. Vocal chorus melody. Main box end of main box comp 2 underscore.
So there are 4 vocal tracks. So I'm going to use VO right arrow to get to the checkbox for the track contents.
Type. Audio. Content track import. Plugins dash. Uncheck. Checkbox. Content track import view. Select the data that you want to import into your project.
All right. There we go. So I'm going to select this.
Check track import view.
Now I can just go down.
Track import view. Select
Second
check track
vocal
import view.
track.
Select the data that you want to import it.
VO down arrow one more time.
Track import view. Select the check track import.
That's the 3rd vocal track. VO down arrow a 4th time.
Track import view.
VO space.
Check track import view.
And now I got the 4th vocal track selected. I don't want any effects or anything from these to come in. So that's pretty much it. Gonna stop interacting.
Out of table. Add button.
Go hit the add button.
1 bar 1 beat 1 division 1 tick.
And there we go. So stop interacting with this.
Out of all file. Media. Project. Tracks. Group. In tracks. Tracks. Group. In tracks. Tracks contents. Tracks header. Group. In tracks header.
And here we are.
Track 7 main box comp 2. Track 8 main box end. Track 9 vocal chorus melody. Track 10 vocal melody stack. Group.
All right. So there we pretty much got all the tracks we want imported. If I jump back to the top of this window.
Track 1 audio 1. Group.
See we have track 1 audio 1. And actually I want to bring one more track in, but I want it to be the 2nd track in the project because it's going to be my reference track. So I just came back up here to select track 1 audio 1, which is a blank track that the project started out with. And now, because that track is selected, when I go import another track into the project, it is going to put it after track 1. It's going to make it track 2. So instead of going from track 1
Track 2 drums. Group.
to the drums,
Track 1 audio 1.
it's
Group.
going to go to track 1 and then the other track and then a drum. So let's go import another track here.
Out of tracks. Out of tracks. Out of tracks. Group. Project. Media. Radio button. All files. Select all files. Group.
There we go. All files.
In all files. Group.
Interact.
19 items. Back button.
I'm going to jump to the end again with VO end.
Add. Dim button.
And then VO left arrow to find the table.
Replace. Import project set. Table. Row 12 of 20.
There we go. Interact with this.
In table. Row 12.
And are we on?
Type. Audio. Name. Vocal melody stack.
Yeah, we're back on the name.
The original track.
And what do you know? That's the track I want. So let's find the checkbox.
Type. Audio. Content track import view.
And that's all I want.
Check track import view. Select
that. I don't need to bring any of the other stuff in, just the track and its content.
Out of table. Add button.
So stop interacting in the table, jump to the add button with VO end. I'm going to VO space on this now.
1 bar 1 beat 1 division 1 tick.
And now if I get out of here, actually I'm going to hit F to close the file browser because I'm done with it.
Show hot tracks. Group.
So now the file browser is closed and I'm back in the tracks group.
In tracks. Tracks time ruler. Tracks header. Group.
Interact with the tracks
In
header.
tracks header. Group. 11 items. Track 1 audio 1. Group.
You see track 1.
Track 2 is the original track. Group.
Track 2 is that.
Track 3 drums. Group.
And now the drums are track 3. Alright, so hopefully you found that helpful and now you're able to import tracks from another Logic project and you can import them in the order that you want them in. If you have any questions, comments, or tips of your own that you'd like to contribute to the community, please feel free to leave those in the comments below. And until next time, happy recording.